Where could she go in the morning? She thought about her family, but they had warned her. They had told her not to marry Chi-Jiok. She had ignored them, believing in love, believing in the promises he once made. Going back to them meant shame. It meant facing their "I told you so," and she didn't even know if they would take her in. She bit her lip. Her thoughts were interrupted by the sound of approaching footsteps. Her heart raced. Was it the police? A street thug? She clutched her children protectively, ready to fight if she had to. A woman emerged from the shadows, carrying a tray of leftover bread. Her eyes fell on Amara and the children. She frowned. "Madam, what are you doing here with these children at this hour?" Amara swallowed. "Please, we have nowhere to go." The woman studied her, then sighed. "Wait here." She disappeared into the small kiosk, then returned with a flask. She poured out some warm tea into a plastic cup and handed it to Amara. "Drink this," she said, "and give some to the children." Amara's hands trembled as she took the cup. The warmth spread through her body instantly. The woman sat beside her. "My name is Ijeoma. I sell snacks here during the day. This is my shop." "Thank you, Ijeoma," Amara whispered. "You just gave birth, didn't you?" Ijeoma asked, glancing at the sleeping baby. Amara nodded. Ijeoma shook her head. Men can be wicked. Tears welled in Amara's eyes, but she blinked them away. "You don't have to tell me your story," Ijeoma continued. "But I can't let you and these children sleep outside like this." Amara's breath caught. "You mean I have a small room behind my shop? It's not much, but it's warm. You can stay there for the night." Amara couldn't believe it. "God bless you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Ijeoma nodded. "Come." She led them behind the shop to a tiny room with a thin mattress on the floor. It was cramped, but it was shelter. Amara helped her children lie down, then sat beside them, exhaustion washing over her. As she closed her eyes, a single thought filled her mind. She had survived one more night. But what about tomorrow? The morning sun streamed through the tiny window, casting golden rays across the small room. Amara blinked awake, her body aching from exhaustion. The events of the previous night rushed back like a flood, and for a brief moment she wished it had all been a bad dream. But the weight of her newborn in her arms and the sight of her four daughters curled up beside her reminded her that it was all real. She was homeless, thrown out like she was nothing. But she couldn't break down, not now. She turned to see Ijeoma already awake, preparing something over a small gas burner. The woman noticed her stirring and smiled. "You needed the sleep," Ijeoma said softly. Amara rubbed her eyes. "I can't thank you enough for letting us stay here." Ijeoma waved a hand dismissively. "You don't need to thank me. I saw you last night, and I couldn't just walk away. Any decent person would have done the same." Amara wasn't sure about that. The world was full of people who turned away from suffering. "You must be hungry," Ijeoma continued. "I made some pap for the little ones." At the mention of food, Chinaza stirred, rubbing her eyes. "Mama, I'm hungry." Amara's heart squeezed. She was used to stretching every naira to feed her children, but now she had nothing. Ijeoma handed her a small bowl of steaming pap. "Feed them, you need strength too." Amara hesitated before taking it. Her pride warred with her desperation, but survival won. She took the spoon and began feeding her children one by one. "Thank you," she whispered again, her voice thick with emotion. Ijeoma sat beside her. "Do you have anywhere to go?" Amara sighed. "No. My husband threw us out. My family warned me not to marry him, going back now." She shook her head. "I don't even know if they'll accept me." Ijeoma frowned. "That man is wicked. How can he abandon his own children?" Amara had no answer. She had spent years trying to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother. But in the end, it hadn't mattered. Ijeoma placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're not alone. I can help you find work. It won't be easy, but at least you'll have something to start with." Amara's eyes widened. "Work. I run this shop, but I also clean houses for extra income. I can introduce you to one of my clients. The pay isn't much, but it's better than nothing." Amara swallowed hard. She glanced at her newborn. "I don't know how I'll manage with the baby." "I can watch her while you work," Ijeoma said. It's the least I can do. Tears welled in Amara's eyes. This woman, a stranger, was offering her more kindness than anyone ever had. "You're too kind," she murmured. Ijeoma smiled. "Life is hard enough. We women have to look out for each other." Amara nodded, a spark of hope igniting in her chest. For the first time in a long time, she felt like she wasn't completely alone. The next few days were tough. Amara started working as a cleaner in a wealthy home. The pay was meager, but it was something. Every morning, she left her children with Ijeoma and scrubbed floors, washed clothes, and did whatever needed to be done. It was exhausting, but it kept her going. She refused to let despair swallow her. At night, she returned to the tiny room, holding her children close. She listened to their soft breaths, reminding herself why she was fighting. She would build a new life for them. Weeks turned into months. Slowly, things began to change. With Ijeoma's help, Amara saved enough to rent a tiny one-room apartment. It wasn't much, just a small space with a mattress and a table, but it was hers. She found more cleaning jobs, and though the work was hard, she never complained. She started buying little things for her children, a pair of shoes here, a new dress there. It was a struggle, but they were surviving. They were living. Then, one evening, something unexpected happened. Amara had just returned home when she heard a knock on the door. She opened it cautiously, expecting Ijeoma, but instead she saw a man, a well-dressed man, standing beside a sleek black car. "Good evening, madam," he said, his voice deep and kind. Amara stiffened. "Good evening. Can I help you?" The man looked at her with soft eyes. "I believe you can." Her heart pounded. "Who are you?" "My name is Desmond," he said. "I was passing by when I saw you and your daughters walking a few months ago. You were carrying a newborn." Amara's breath hitched. She remembered that night. The cold, the desperation. "I stopped my car," Desmond continued, "but you disappeared before I could reach you." Amara frowned. "Why were you looking for me?" Desmond sighed. "Because your pain reminded me of my own." She stared at him, confused. He glanced away for a moment, as if gathering his thoughts. 5 years ago, I lost my wife during childbirth. She didn't make it, and neither did my baby." Amara's heart clenched. "I was devastated," Desmond admitted. "For years, I shut myself off from the world. Then, that night, when I saw you walking in the cold carrying your child, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time." Amara swallowed hard. "And what was that?" "Hope," he said simply. Silence stretched between them. Finally, he sighed. "I don't know why I came here today, but something told me I needed to see you." Amara hesitated. Her instincts told her to be cautious. But there was something sincere about him. "Would you like to come in?" she asked softly. Desmond smiled. "Only if you're comfortable with that." She stepped aside, letting him in. Her daughters sat on the mattress, watching curiously. The baby cooed in her lap. Desmond's eyes softened. "They're beautiful." Amara smiled despite herself. "They're my everything." Desmond nodded. "I understand that." They talked for hours. About life, about loss, about second chances. And as Amara looked at this man, this stranger who had appeared out of nowhere, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, her story wasn't over yet. Maybe a new chapter was just beginning. A second chance at love. Desmond became a frequent visitor in Amara's life. At first, she didn't know what to make of him. He was kind, patient, and genuinely seemed to care about her and her children. But after everything she had been through, trusting another man felt like an impossible task. Yet, he kept showing up. Every weekend, he would pass by to check on her. Sometimes, he brought food, other times, clothes for the children. And when she insisted she couldn't take anything from him, he would simply smile and say, "I'm just helping a friend." A friend. It was a word Amara hadn't associated with a man in a long time, and though she tried to ignore it, a small part of her enjoyed his company. One evening, as she was preparing dinner, a knock came at the door. It was Desmond. She sighed, wiping her hands on a cloth before opening the door. "You again." He grinned. "Were you expecting someone else?" She rolled her eyes. "What do you want, Desmond?" "I was in the area and thought I'd stop by." Amara raised a brow. "You were in the area. Again, he chuckled. Okay, fine. Maybe I was looking for an excuse to see you. Amara's heart did a strange little flip. She wasn't used to this, to a man looking at her like that as if she was special. She stepped aside. Come in. Desmond entered, immediately greeted by the sight of Amara's daughters playing in the corner. Uncle Desmond, Chinaza squealed, running up to hug him. Amara's eyes widened in surprise. When had they gotten so comfortable with him? Desmond laughed, scooping her up effortlessly. You're getting heavier, you know. Chinaza giggled. Mama says I eat too much. She does she? He glanced at Amara, amusement in his eyes. Amara shook her head. She does eat too much. Desmond set Chinaza down. Well, a growing girl needs to eat. Amara sighed, returning to the stove. Are you staying for dinner? Desmond's face lit up. If I'm invited. She rolled her eyes again. You invite yourself anyway. But the truth was, she wanted him to stay. Dinner that night felt different. For the first time in years, Amara laughed at the dinner table. Desmond told silly jokes, making the children giggle, even little Alucci, who rarely smiled. And Amara? She found herself relaxing, enjoying his presence. Watch out for the part 3 in this left side of these video. Polls, don't forget to subscribe and like the video because you like it.